I feel like I'm at a game. Oh my gosh. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Happy Devils Sunday! This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, season 4, episode 22, titled Grass is Greener on the Other Side. I'm your host, Sambu, here with Beer Baron and Scotty of SiriusXM Liquid Metal, streaming live on Facebook Live, Twitter Live, YouTube Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. Sorry about last week, folks, but we took a break, and we're back. We're back. Winston's back. I can hear him licking something or drinking out of his bowl.
That's not licking.
So I see John Hines' team won.
That's an interesting
There's
way
a
of putting it.
Yeah. Well, the playoffs. Yeah, we missed everybody last week. Glad to be back.
Yeah,
we had to take a quick little breather there after all those post games in a row. So 1,000 apologies, but hello to everybody on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitch, Twitter, everything else. We got a lot of playoffs going on right now, which has been a hell of a good time so far. I mean, these games have been incredible. Some, scary stuff with John Tavares. A lot of ex-Devils around the league that I think we should go around and check. We got to look at our bracket that we have going on. And Sam Wu was talking about it. We're thinking about doing some Devils awards. We're going to come up with some categories, and, we want to have you guys vote on it as well out there in Facebook, Twitter, and whatever the hell other one. What is the other one I'm forgetting now? Facebook to YouTube. Everyone gets to vote. I will make up some fun categories like, next prospect Beer Baron will have a man crush on, once Mikey McLeod finally moves on, so we'll have some fun categories. Besides the old, most improved and MVP of the team and all that, we got to come up with some fun ones. Player you don't want to be punched in the face by on the Devils. Nathan Bastian, Mikey McLeod, Jesper Bratt was our other big fighter this year. Yeah, go figure that one, Jesper Bratt. But we'll have some fun, and we'll do some Devils awards. But right now, looking around the playoffs. By the way, who do you guys got? Because we haven't got a chance to talk here, but as the playoffs start, who do you guys got going all the way?
I mean, honestly, I think there's a few teams I think we could all agree Colorado looks pretty damn good, especially because they just swept the St. Louis Blues. And they didn't just sweep them. They swept them. They swept them in convincing fashion. So
oh yeah. I thought that was going to be a 7-game series. I thought St. Louis was going to, be tough and hang around. Man, Colorado, that first game when Landeskog dropped the oh man, I was right there with them in that point. Oh yeah, dude.
Well, let's take a look at this real quick because I know last week we didn't get a chance to do this, but it's nice. We got a little break, we got a little a breather at the end of the year, and now we can kind of dive into the playoffs as they're already kind of like in full swing. Like you said, there's a lot of things that happened to Varys. That injury and that whole situation, I want to talk about because there's something that happened with the newspaper up there in Toronto that I kind of want to get your guys' opinion about. And just how it was handled and how Dubois is like handling everything and how basically everything is being, viewed through. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but let's talk about the Avalanche real quick because I think it's not a surprise to anybody that they would be a favorite to win the Stanley Cup this year, but game 1, they went 4-1. Game 2, they went 6-3. Game 3, they went 5-1. And then game 4, to complete the sweep, they win 5-2. So they didn't just beat the Blues, they dismantled the Blues.
Yeah.
So they look like they're the real deal. Now, one of the teams that I thought was going to be, probably one of the favorites coming out of the East, and especially out of the division that the Devils were playing in, would be the Washington Capitals. And unfortunately, that's not looking good right now because they're down 2-0 in this game. And they're down 3-1 in the series. But here's something that's interesting. In the game that they're down 2-0 right now, they're out shooting Boston 30-13. 30-13. They're winning in faceoffs, power plays, 0-3, 0-2, doesn't matter. Everything else is pretty much down the line, almost split. Except for blocks. Boston is kind of doubling up Washington in blocks and giveaways, but regardless, Washington, who looked like a favorite, they took a huge injury right in the very beginning in the first game, and I think that threw their train off the tracks. But talk about physical. That series has been fun to watch. Alex Ovechkin throwing his body around, throwing his weight around. A couple of ex-Devils, like you said before, Kyle Palmieri really putting in some work for the Islanders against the Penguins. That's been an exciting series. That's 2-2. The Jets and Oilers 2-0 for the Jets.
The Jets just scored,
but the Oilers
just scored too.
They just scored, but the Oilers are leading in that game 3-1 right now, so that's going to be an interesting one to watch. Last night, the Leafs dismantled the Canadiens, and I mean the Canadiens pulled their goalie with 5.5 minutes left in that period, and the Leafs just kind of took control of that game. Predators, old Captain No Brows,
the
hairless wonder. He's got that series tied up 2-2, which is surprising because Carolina was another team that was heavily favored.
Yes, I think Carolina's going to pull it off. And actually, you know what I was thinking when we do our Devils Awards? Anything that's an incomplete, like an incomplete for the season, we should just have a little picture of John Hines because you can never tell what he's thinking with the no eyebrows.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so it could just be, it's like, don't know.
Who knows? Who knows what they're thinking?
Who knows?
Are you mad?
Are you mad? Are you sad? Are you angry? What's going on, John? Just tell us. Come on. Talk about it. Just let it out.
Use your words. Use your words.
But I think a big thing in that series, and I think you'll agree with me, is the fans in Nashville and everything. That is a monster house to play in front of, and they get really, really into it. Not saying anything against the Carolina fans or anything like that, but that Nashville, arena, once it gets, those fans in there, it's loud. They're really into it, and you could feel the momentum. I thought Carolina was just going to walk right through that series and be done with it. But it's been a homer. It's been a homer series. 2 games for Carolina at home, then 2 games for Nashville at home. So I would not be surprised though to see the Canes win the next one and then wrap it up. I don't think it'll go 7 games. I think they'll wrap it up in 6.
So the other two series that we haven't talked about, the Panthers Lightning, where Tampa Bay leads 3-1, and the Golden Knights and Wild, where Vegas leads.
But how do they get those guys
leads
back?
3-1. Huh?
How'd they get those guys back? How'd they get that Kucherov and Stamkos guy back?
Oh, they're only 17. That's another. We're going to save that conversation for a little bit too, because they're only 17 million over the cap right now. But no big deal.
Yeah,
no big deal.
I didn't like the cheap shot though that Duclair took on Kucherov.
Yeah. That slash.
I didn't. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that. But he's going to be a dude, like they're gonna go after.
Well, listen,
I mean, he's one of the best players. They have to, but I mean, just
this playoff year, you've seen a hell of a lot more animosity. There's been a lot more suspensions. There's been a lot more fines that have been handed out. You've been seeing a lot more. I don't want to. Some of it is some of it's dirty play. Some of it's gamemanship. How do you say it? I can't use words right now. Some of it is within the lines, but it's just hockey, right? But some of it is dirty pool. And so right now what you're seeing is a lot of these teams that just straight up don't like each other. Tampa Bay and Florida do not like each other. If you don't think so, go back. I don't know if it was last game or the game before where Huberdeau was going to he was going to the bench, and he was like right in front of Tampa Bay's bench, and he got into it with like two of the Tampa Bay players, and they shove him into the bench, and it's just like it's just bad blood. But you know what? Mm-hmm. It's good hockey. That's one of the best things that happened from this weird schedule and a weird year is they created these like this hatred in between these teams that are playing each other, and it's kind of nice to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I've been enjoying these playoffs. These games have been, which one was there was like there was over like 140 hits or something in that one game with Florida and Tampa Bay. I mean, they were just going at it, and it's fun playoff hockey. There's no other sport. I know playoffs are intense in all sports, but hockey, it's just something different, especially this first week, the first round where you got so many teams and it's just game after game after game. It's like the first, like weekend of the March Madness, when it's just nonstop games. You can just keep going. It's like, this is awesome. Yeah, it's awesome, because it's just nonstop.
It's every night.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. It's like, no matter when you come out, like you go out, I got to run some errands, and then I come back. Oh, there's another game on. It's just awesome. Like it's unreal. And to have these rivalries, like Edmonton and Winnipeg are playing now, like Florida and Tampa Bay, even the Caps and the Bruins, but it's been brutal. It lined up really well. It lined up really well for us as fans to enjoy.
Because unfortunately we can't watch our own team in it. And I mean, anybody that's a hockey fan, I think can agree. It's besides the NFL, because the NFL is a different creature in itself, because the NFL is obviously, taken over as the America's pastime. Fantasy football, all that kind of stuff that goes into it has kind of made it to the point where I will watch a Cleveland Browns Jaguars playoff game.
Absolutely.
If the Giants
I'm watching
a
Cleveland Browns. I'm watching a game that's like 52-3, and I'm like, come on, 10 more yards. Just give me 10 more yards. Come
exactly.
on. Yeah.
So I mean, like, and the NFL is a different entity, but the NHL is probably one of the only sports, and it's not just because I'm like a huge hockey fan. I think people that are even like casual hockey fans, even more so now, like nowadays, people that are casual hockey fans, NHL playoffs are a completely different beast. It is the most exciting. NBA, I hate to say this, and I'm not knocking against the NBA because it's good for what it is, but it's predictable because a 1 is not going to beat an 8. Do you know what I mean? Or I'm sorry, an 8's not going to beat a 1 in the NBA. Yeah. Usually, like the top seeds in the NBA are going to roll through, and they get to the point where they're going to face it. It's great because then you get these really great dynamic matchups between the best teams in the league, which sounds great on paper. But the best thing about the NHL is that anybody can win, and you've seen teams that are the lowest seeds win the Stanley Cup. You see teams go on a deep run that have been a low seed. The Devils in
Kings
2012
and Devils.
faced the
Two
LA
eight
Kings
seeds.
6 and 8.
LA
No,
Kings
that was
and
the
Devils.
The Devils were 6 and the Kings were an 8. So it's just like it's a different.
Six that year. I thought we were both 8
I
seeds.
believe. No, I would like to say I'm 98% sure that the Devils were the 6th seed that year. But
Okay.
it's just
I'm
it's
bad
a
with numbers, but
different.
whatever.
It's
You're
a
probably right.
different energy. It is I've watched every single playoff series this year, every year. Like it feels like I could put on, and it doesn't matter what team is playing. It's just fun to watch. Now
it's
that
great.
crowds are starting to come back, it's been this year
Mhm.
especially. Feels like it's a little bit more special.
Mhm.
I like that
And-
Nate on the YouTube side of town. He says, "Can we pour out one for St. Louis having to face Colorado with what was an an AHL squad?" Yeah, St. Louis was outgunned big time in that series. But go on.
Yeah, they were outgunned. I mean, I got Colorado. I got Colorado and the Canes going to the final. So we'll see if it comes up. But I gotta say, with this Edmonton game on and the Boston, Washington scored. All right, 2-1. We'll see. But with the Oilers, I'm just looking around to see some ex-Devils and see how they're doing. And I gotta say, the greatest trade piece in the history of the NHL is looking mighty fine with another old buddy of ours. Dmitry Kulikov and Adam Larson have been creating quite the defensive, pairing over there in Edmonton. And yeah, it's just been pretty impressive to see. I love Lars. We got our Taylor Hall, we got our MVP year. We didn't really get that much out of it, other than that. But I mean, it's still a hell of a trade. But Devils fans, I remember everyone's like, "Yeah, well, Adam Larson is a first-round pick." Was he 4th overall, 3rd overall?
4th
Something
overall.
like
And
that.
the funny thing is
Fourth
the Devils actually won the lottery. Everybody forgets, but the Devils actually won the lottery that year. But the lottery
But
was
we could only
set
move up.
the way it is now.
Yeah.
You could only move up X amount of spots, and they moved up to
Mhm.
number 4. And if they would have got number 1 overall, they would have ended up with Nugent Hopkins because he went number 1 overall to Edmonton that year. But regardless, it worked out the way it worked out, and that's the way it is. And it's
just funny.
Once
It's funny to see those two together just working very, very well, and doing what Sam Wu likes to say, the old no fun zone. The NFZ is in full effect when Dmitry Kulikov and Adam Larson are on the ice for Edmonton Oilers.
Man. Shut down defense.
Woo!
Hey, by the way, next Sunday,
Yep.
I know we'll talk about this more off air, but next Sunday, we're right close to getting to the actual NHL draft lottery night, which is June 2nd. So maybe on Sunday, next Sunday on the 30th, we can talk a little bit about what's going on with the potential of this team picking within the top 4 and who we would like them to pick. But maybe I'm teasing a little bit for next week. Maybe we'll talk
Are
to
we
Sam
doing the
and see what he
awards
thinks
next
about all that.
week? Are we
We'll
doing
do the awards
next
list, and
week?
it's an hour long. It's an hour long program, Scott. We got plenty of room to throw a lot of the stuff in there, right? But yeah, dude, I'm
undersell, overperform.
there. You go, 100%.
But anyway, over there on the Oilers, it's nice to see Adam Larson and Dmitry Kulikov doing well. I think if you go around the league, the Islanders have the most ex-Devils with Lou, Kyle Palmieri, Andy Green, and Travis Zajac. The Bruins just got Taylor Hall and whatever. Canadians got John Merrill. The Leafs got Wayne Simmons. Tampa Bay, we know Pickles is down there. Pickles has looked good for Tampa Bay, and he always does.
And he bounced back. And he bounced back from that brutal boarding hit too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tough series. Tough series. Man, Tampa Bay is good too.
Luke. That's true. We'll talk about that. Don't worry, buddy.
Who else? John Hines, and there's no one else on the Predators, I don't think, or anyone on the Canes. So it's not too many.
Hey, wait! You forgot about one of the best defensemen to ever come through the New Jersey Devils, one-time Nashville Predator as well, Steven, the shutdown Santini.
Oh, Santini.
Yeah, he made his playoff debut, I believe, last game.
Wow. Who got hurt?
Yeah, good for him. I don't know. But anyways, I remember.
I
reading that,
remember
I was
when
like,
he was in.
he's a
I remember when
Leaf?
he was in the
What?
system. Oh,
Yeah.
Santini.
He was.
Santini's gonna be the next
Santini's gonna be the
Stevens,
man.
bro. He's
Yeah, he
gonna
doesn't
be
get
the
enough
next
credit.
Scotty Stevens. He's gonna be awesome, Steven
It's gonna be
Santini.
awesome, dude. Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of guys like that that have been, or that were supposed to be the next of this and the next of that, and they were the next of on another team. So
Mhm.
I wanted to change gears a little bit after talking about all these teams that are currently in the playoffs right now.
That
this
we're
is a
jealous
question
of?
for our friends out there. What's that?
Mm-hmm. I said that we're jealous of because our team isn't in the playoffs.
Oh, yes, 100%. But this is a question I would like to share with our friends on YouTube, our friends on Facebook, our friends out on Twitch and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. What is the one thing you miss about the Devils being in the playoffs consistently? What is the one thing that you miss that you obviously this question is for you too, but what is the one thing that you miss about the Devils being in the playoffs consistently? Oh, here's Sam. Sam's got an idea. Go ahead, Sam.
Oh boy, here we go. Here we go.
know,
I can only imagine where
miss.
this is gonna go. This is gonna go back to the ownership somehow. I have a feeling.
Oh, I'll talk to you off air about ownership.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
I
Trying to make
like
friends,
the,
Sam.
you know what? I like the surprise charges on your credit card because it's a good thing. That's the only time I like surprise charges, when you're moving on to the next round with playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
You
like,
know,
I got 2 more rounds to go potentially. And what I loved in the past was when the Devils would charge you 4 home games, even though they're mathematically cannot have 4 home games, but they charge you anyway, and then they refund you at the end of the playoffs. That was years ago.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that
for
was
sure.
years ago. And
I think-
but I didn't care.
Yeah, because they're in the playoffs. Obviously we could say the things that we miss, like the playoff atmosphere, right? Being in the building when the playoffs are going on, those intros, the celebrations when they win games. But I think one of the biggest feelings that I miss the most of the Devils being consistently in the playoffs is the anticipation, right? It's being at the game is great, but that anticipation of not knowing what's going to happen in a series, especially like there was a good stretch the Devils would make the playoffs, but they couldn't get past the first round. Up until like 2012, where they were like in a bad funk and a bad streak of like, yeah, they'd make the playoffs, but boop, and maybe that might be one of the things I don't miss is like those first round exits where you get all excited, you're like, we finally made it, and then you're like, and we're out. It's like, damn it, what the hell happened? But
it wasn't we finally made it either. It would be like we have like 90 plus points and it's, first, second seed, and then you get bounced by like a 7 Pittsburgh or Carolina or something like that in the first round, and you're like, what the hell just happened? Like, how did that go? Like,
we should have won this series.
Yeah.
Those are the worst. Those are when you're a high seed and there's teams a year that you're alluding to, the year that they lost to the Pittsburgh Penguins.
That one, yeah.
The Devils were a juggernaut that year. And it was one of those series that was like, Pittsburgh, what? Yeah, they suck. Like, we'll destroy
They're bankrupt.
Them.
They're bankrupt. We'll destroy them.
Yeah, we'll kill them. They can't even put a real team on the ice. Like, who cares?
Isn't that when we had
that was
Kevin Constantine as our coach as well, and he was the former coach of the Penguins?
No, Fatorik.
Right?
Wait,
Fatorik.
Was it Fatorik?
It was 99. It was 99.
Didn't they
yeah,
fire
Sam's
Robbie?
right.
Didn't they fire Robbie and bring in Oh, that was the
No.
next year. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's the next year.
Excuse me. That's
So-
next
No,
year that happened.
That year the Devils were steamrolling people, and it was like, oh my god,
Steamrolled them every year.
Well, no, they that year especially. I was like, that was one of those series you walked into so cocky and confident, like, oh yeah, we're not losing. We're not losing to Pittsburgh. You were already looking ahead to the second round, like, all right, who are we going to get? The same thing happened in the Carolina year in 2009, in 2009 when the Devils lost to Carolina. I remember being on the phone with my friend talking about, oh man, the Devils are going to play Ovechkin and the Capitals in the second round, and then Stahl scores that goal. And it's funny because Devils 1917, who is not a burner account, said, "Damn Eric Stahl, LOL."
Hi, Nikki.
But yeah, I text her, I'm like, say something about Eric Stahl.
No, that year still, that team was so
rough.
stacked. 08-09, that team was so good with the ZZ Pops and everything. Like, I still cannot believe that we were, what was it, the 2 goals in like a minute and a half there at the end of Game 7?
Seconds, I believe. I think it was 31 seconds or something crazy.
I mean,
Horrifying.
it's just like you have the greatest goalie of all time. This will never happen. Oh my God, that just happened. I cannot believe that. Like, it was the most utter shock, and that was the first year or second year we were in the Rock. I can't remember. I think it might have been the first year, and we were all excited and think you're going to make a long run and these great new memories, and that was just bitter
rough.
and so hard of a pill to swallow. Like that,
I've never been so angry after a series. Like, I've been upset after a series before. I've been upset.
Oh,
I've never been so
most angry.
I think
Ranger
94
series.
was some. Yeah. 94 was probably
Not even that one. No,
gut-wrenching.
what was it? What was it? 08 when friggin'
When it got
Lundqvist was
swept.
doing a curtain call on our ice. Yeah. Oh my God, that was the worst. That was the absolute
Avery rule.
worst.
Avery rule.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was the absolute worst I ever
Didn't
felt.
I ask what was our favorite thing about being in the
After
playoffs? Not all these horrible memories. Like, I don't know how. I don't know. We took a hard left turn on this.
You brought it up. The Devils have had a lot of, early and upsetting, exits in the playoffs. There were a lot of like teams that we thought we were gonna roll and crush because we destroyed in the regular season. And then once they got to the playoffs, like first round, second round, bye. That was it.
Yep.
There wasn't a lot of like
Even
conference championships or anything. Like,
Even in 2012, if Kovalchuk doesn't get his back hurt in that Philadelphia series, the Devils win the cup that year. I can say that with such confidence because that team was clicking so well, especially in that Philly series. Like in the Philly series, it felt like, oh my God, this is it, guys. We're going on a run. Like it felt like this team was like going to be one of those teams that was just going to start, generating just going through the series and then going into the next. It just felt good. And then when they beat the Rangers that high, it was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then Anze Kopitar with that damn breakaway. I was like, oh, we should have had that game. And then it was like,
we should have
had that game.
Was it Steve Bernier with the 5-minute major there? And
which was an absolute joke. If you want to talk, no, it's game 6. It's game 6. Devils win 4 or 5. Game 6, they had all the momentum in the world, and Bernier. First of all, right before that play, Steven Giante gets boarded. I mean, boarded from like 3 feet away from the boards. Absolutely, numbers to the player, boarded into the wall, no call. Steve Bernier goes into a check into the corner. The dude turns himself as they're going into the boards, and Bernier gets to 5, and then he gets to misconduct, and we all know. I'm sorry. By the way, Antonio says, please stop bringing up all these nightmares, and I can't help it. I'm sorry, Antonio.
And I want to add to that.
We have to.
Go back to that play. That should have been icing.
It should have been. It should have been. You're 100% right. It should have been icing.
That should have been icing. The refs were fell
they
asleep.
They should have won that game and then come back and won that series.
Had they done one of these, Bernier would have let up and never hit the guy.
Where was old Pete DeBoer on that one, huh? Where was old Pete on that?
Hey, say what you want. Say what you want. I enjoyed Pete DeBoer.
He was looking for what's her name that was behind him in L.A.
Yeah, old.
I can't remember what her name. One of them. I can't remember which one it was.
And they had those big, giant, inflatable Jersey Shore characters. I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. I don't understand how you're trying to get into the psyche of the Devils because you're showing up with the Jersey Shore, but
And then when they come back to Game 5, I think somebody was holding up Lindsay Lohan and all that behind the LA bench. I don't know if you remember that.
oh yeah, was that you?
No, it wasn't me. I was actually in the press box.
Oh,
I was in the press box.
press box eating shrimp,
Excuse me.
But I will say,
spitting
though,
on you peons down there.
if-
I was
if
in
the
the
Devils-
press box passing the Grey Poupon.
Yes.
No, somebody ate all the food in the press box, but I'm not going to name names. Anyway, so
Yeah. Sam Wu.
if they won Game 7, what could have been Game 6, sorry, and that Game 7 at the Rock, that
Would have been insane.
that could have been one of the greatest or the greatest game we've ever seen out of the New Jersey Devils, and we were robbed.
Well, we were, but you think,
Well,
and you think about the momentum
the
going
Henrique
into that
moment
Game
before,
7.
too.
Yeah, we did. But and by the way, you bring up a very good point when saying that, because that Henrique moment, I remember myself,
I don't
a
live
lot
forever.
of my friends,
Live
all of us
forever.
were standing around, and we're like, once the Devils lost the Stanley Cup to the Kings, we're like, at least we destroyed the Rangers. Like, we had that
Yeah.
feeling, like, hey, at least we got that monkey off our back. But still, we should have beat Colorado and won that cup. We should have beaten LA and won that cup. I think LA, when the LA team that beat the Rangers to win their second cup was way better than the team. They were almost identical, yes, but they had a few different players in that team. But the team that beat the Rangers were better than the team that beat the Devils, and the Devils were a much better team than the Kings in certain areas. Now, they had
were too
Richards, they
big.
had Carter, they had Richards, they had Carter, they had
steamrolled us.
Kopitar, they had Brown, they had a monster of a team, but
They were like the
Whatever.
Blues
It's in
from
the
2
past.
years ago. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, very, very, very similar. Yeah,
yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
also
they just
think,
hung around. They hung around,
Well-
and then once they got into the playoffs, they just were able to like grind some of the smaller teams out, and that's it. You know,
Well,
Yeah.
LA that year just breezed through the playoffs. I mean, they just cruised on by. The Devils had some
well, they
beat
shouldn't.
down series against the
Yeah.
Panthers. The Flyers is always physical, and then the Rangers.
oh,
and then
that
they
first
ran out-
round, I almost
Yeah.
forgot about that first round
Yeah,
against
game
Florida. That
7,
went
they went
7
7.
games.
Yeah,
Woo, that was a
and
great
they should have lost. They should
series.
have lost that series. And I remember sitting there thinking, I went to that game. What was it? The game? I forget which one it was. I think they were up like 3-0 or something like that. And then the Panthers came back and won that game at the Rock. That whole series was
Mm.
way harder than
Mm.
people remember, because I know some
Oh,
people
yeah.
look at Florida and are like, oh, it's the Panthers. Like, the Panthers suck. Like, no, that was a really good series. And it's funny because the Kings that year were being ragged on for underperforming like pretty much the entire year, if you remember. And when they
Mhm.
made it into the
Mhm.
playoffs, they didn't make it by like a whole lot. They made it in by like the skin of their teeth. But then Quick caught on fire. The team
Mhm.
remembered, oh yeah, we're big and bad, and they started rolling people. And it was just like
Mhm.
they clicked at the right time. But listen, honestly, there was a couple years where the Devils got bounced in the first round, like we were saying before, that they should have went on a deep run. And a part of me always looks at the structure of the team. And God bless Lou, because we wouldn't have had 3 cups if it wasn't for Lou Lamoriello. But I feel like they could have had at least 1 or 2 more, and not including the series that they went to. Not including the Colorado one, which I think they should have won. Not including 2012, which I think they should have won. There could have been 1 or 2 other ones mixed in that area, because that team,
And
it
that
just needed a
08-09
couple of
team.
pieces that he would never do. He would never pull the trigger on certain moves, and you're like, if you would have done this, it would have been different.
I thought the
that
94 team
08-09
was good.
Oh, the
That
94 team was
team,
great.
It was amazing.
Both teams. Both teams.
Do you
were
guys
great.
remember the drama in 2012 against the Panthers when I guess the owner of the Panthers and one of our fans got in a Twitter war? They got in a Twitter war.
Vaguely.
They got in a Twitter war, and then he said something like, "Well, nobody cares what you think. You only have 32 followers." And then the entire NHL fan base started following this girl. If you remember that.
Oh yeah.
Whole big thing, and then he invited in good faith, and he invited her to Game 7 in Florida, paid for everything, only for her to see Adam Henrique score the game-winning goal in their building. So, there was a storyline there that I still remember. That was pretty funny. Remember the meme when all the Panthers execs were like this?
Yeah.
With their heads back?
Dude. Well, what's crazy about that whole series is, if you remember, I think how many of those games went into overtime?
Yeah.
You had I think, and somebody was just saying on YouTube, first rounds can be the hardest per Marty. So that's true. You get a team that just sometimes, like, that's what's the beauty about the NHL. You get a team that they just made it into the playoffs, and sometimes it's not a team that backed into the playoffs. It's a team that they clawed and they scratched and they went on a run and they finally put things together and they made it into the playoffs after that trade deadline. Something clicked, and you get a team, they get red hot, and that's all it takes. And that's, man, I'm telling you, it sucks not to see the Devils in it, but goddamn, if it isn't, it's enjoyable. It's fun to watch. It's entertaining at the very least.
I think the first time.
What's so funny?
I think the first time I got, as a Devils fan, I ever got pissed was Game 7. If you remember, early 90s, the first ever Devils-Rangers series. In Game 6, the Devils and Rangers had a brawl that spilled into the benches. Scott Stevens, Richer. Do you guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
At all?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
And then that Game 7, Madison Square Garden, and then the Rangers wound up winning it. What was I in 7th grade, 8th grade? Back then, I was so mad. And then 94, it was even worse. It was worse because it comes so close,
94 was harsh.
Harsh.
01 was just really that one. Oh, I really thought the Devils had it. Hated seeing Marty lose to Patrick Waugh.
The worst.
How many times do I have to see Ray Bourque raise the cup on every friggin', commercial or Stanley Cup montage? And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's the time that we lost with, what I really feel is like the greatest team the Devils ever had. That 01. Oh, my God. How did they lose? Those are heartbreakers.
Team, those are the ones that are the worst.
It might even be more than 94. I don't know. 94 was.
So what do you think? Taking out of the fact that they lost the cup, what do you think was more disappointing, the Kane series or the Avs series?
Oh, definitely, probably the Kane series. At least the Avs, right? I knew they were a really good team. Obviously we're in the Cup Finals, and it was the first one we ever lost, so that kind of sucked. We won in 95, we won in 99, so you're 2-0 in the Cup Finals. You feel really good going in there, and especially with that team with the firepower. I mean, that was the year, Mogilny had like the 46 goals. Elias had 45. Sikora had like 39 or 38. Like, it was one of the first times we were an offensive juggernaut for a long time. In like the Lou era, it was always defense. Oh, the Devils can't score. It's always 1-0, 2-1. If you could score 3 goals, you could beat the Devils. That year, forget it. We were just lighting the lamp every single game. Gomez was there, Breland, young Sergei Breland, John Madden, chipping in with goals too. Like, there were so
Bob
many.
Corkum.
Poor Cub.
Oh,
But
yeah,
that first
don't forget.
line, those first two lines, that 1-2 punch, being able to have like the McGinley Gomez on the second line and just the A line at their prime. You know, like I said, Elias had I think he had 45 or something, and Sikora had 38 or 39, and then Arnott was in like the high 20s. Like, if you could put three guys, I mean, two basically 40-goal scorers, and then a third one on the second line, like,
and that was what the straw that broke the camel's back, right? That was why one of the main reasons that Lou ended up trading Sikora. If I'm not mistaken, that was one of the whole things of like breaking up the A-line.
Bigger than the team. Can't be the line.
No line is bigger than the team. Oh, the Caps
my God!
lost.
Yes.
Oh boy, our old
the Caps
friend,
lost?
Taylor Hall. Hooray for him! Suck job.
So the Taylor Hall curse has been lifted in the first round. We'll see if they can get past the second round. We'll see who they're playing. Ooh, Boston. If Boston, Carolina. Ooh, that's gonna be a fun series.
Has the NHL talked about what they're gonna do for the Canadian teams going forward? Because I heard it on the radio very briefly the other day that they were talking about considering NHL players and personnel to be essential travel, because right now the only thing that goes between the United States and Canada is essential travel. I don't know if there's been talk about lifting the ban between the borders or what they're going to do, but it's kind of like creeping up pretty quickly.
It is creeping up quickly, so we'll have to see. I mean, I think that's going to be on the Canadian side. I don't know if they're going to put the the games up there in Canada again. I don't know if they would do that. I mean, like, teams have fought for home for. Did they say? I really don't know off the top of my head. I mean, teams have fought for home ice advantage seating.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to relocate up to Canada?
I don't know what's going to happen. You know what? Maybe somebody from YouTube or somebody from Facebook or somebody from wherever.
Yeah, does anyone know about that? Actually, I really don't know. That just doesn't seem right. Like, unless they're going to keep whoever wins the Edmonton, Edmonton, Winnipeg plays, the Leafs Habs. So I guess they got one more series that they can get through like that. But then eventually they're going to have to do some sort of break.
They have at least like a week and a half, if you think about it, because where each of those series are. But it's going to be interesting because
they have some time, but
it's kind of stuff out.
It's coming up real soon, and it's going to be close. I mean, that's going to be one of those teams is going to have to play, an American team. There's going to be some sort of crossover at some point. Me personally, in my bracket, I got the Leafs and the Canes going at it. In the old conference finals there. But
have them forfeit.
Oh, wait a minute. The Habs they're in different conferences. They can't play each other. What am I thinking?
Well,
right?
It's a different
world. Different world right now.
Oh, wait, yeah, different divisions. Duh. Okay, right. Yeah, Canadian division.
Right now, the all Canadian division. So.
Yep. Right, different divisions this year. All right, I had a flashback to the actual divisions, and I'm like, wait a minute, hang on a second.
What they're probably
conferences.
You know what they're probably going to do? This is what they're probably going to do. Either the Canadian government lets up, or they move the Canadian teams to the United States, and maybe
which I doubt the Canadian government wants to do because they've already started to let some of the fans in.
I don't think they have. There's nobody in.
They could.
There's nobody in Winnipeg there in the seats, unless they're in the upper decks.
I think Toronto.
No, they just did a wide shot. There is nobody in Winnipeg, so
it's cold up there. Right? No, but I think that they're going to start letting fans, from what I heard, into the building soon, very soon, especially in Toronto.
Well,
so I could be dead wrong about this. Listen.
You would think if that's the case, then maybe the travel would be a little bit more. I don't know.
Well,
maybe
that
might be
kind of what I was hearing.
Vaccines. You get, if you get vaccine, if your card is, you get your card stamped there, and then you get a free sandwich after 2. Get your card validated twice, and then you get a free sandwich at your local sub shop. By the way, oh my
Jimmy
God,
Wilson?
dude, I gotta tell you,
What?
we had Taco Man the other day. I don't know if anyone in New Jersey has
Sounds like
ever heard of
such
this
a-
before.
such-
Dude, it's so good.
what,
Out here
Taco
in Southern
Man sounds like such
California.
a ripoff.
No, man, Taco Man is great. What it is in Southern California, obviously the Mexican food is just incredible. And my buddy, he had his first kid, during the pandemic, and now that everything is, lifting a little bit, he had a little party for his first birthday and stuff like that. So we went there, and when you got a party, like you order Taco Man, and like somebody comes and they set up a little tent and they set up a grill, and then for like 3 hours they just make tacos.
Straight fresh tacos.
Yeah, chicken, steak,
And we're not getting paid by Taco Man to
carnitas.
do this.
No. It's a thing. Like I've never heard of this before. When I moved out here, they're like, yeah, man, we're getting Taco Man. I'm like, what's that? What does that mean? Like what was Taco Man? Like I don't understand what that means. So like, yeah, man, Taco Man's coming. And I'm like, what? It's a thing. Never heard of it before in New Jersey.
Sounds like some sketchy dude's going to show up and he's going to be like, hey, Taco Man's
It's
over there.
basically-
And you're like, you look over there and there's like this dude is like looks super sketchy and you're like, oh man, no, not Taco Man.
Think of it this way. It's basically, if the Jersey style of it would be like your favorite pizzeria comes over and has like little grills that they bring with them, and they make they just start making pizzas for you.
That's like
For like
when
a family
that's like when
party.
that's like when you get a food truck at your birthday party. I think it's like super cool. It's become more and more popular over the years. Having like a personalized food truck at a wedding or at a birthday and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of cool.
Sort of,
A lot of
yeah,
good
sort
times.
of. Yeah,
Hey,
sort of.
You know what? Next year
But
when
it's
the
Taco
Devils
Man.
make the playoffs, maybe we could have our own Taco Man party and have a little Let's Go
That's
Devils
what's up.
podcast
Yeah.
in-person
Taco
party
Man is
next
great.
year.
You
So
just eat and eat and eat.
not to fast forward into like any of the awards because we'll talk about all that next week. Not to really dive head deep into what the Devils are going to do, because maybe we'll talk about what they're going to do in the draft. After we find out where they're going to be drafting, because that's always going to be a mystery. But we could talk about that a little bit next week. But I did want to touch on the fact that we should be rooting against the Islanders for obvious reasons.
We should be rooting
because
we should be rooting for them.
No, against them. We should be rooting
No,
against
for
them
them.
because if they lose, what do you mean for them? If they lose, that draft pick that we got for them is going to be a higher draft pick. So, for example, I believe that if they lose and the Wild, but it has to be something like this. Like if the Wild need to win, I forget who else. Someone else needs to win. The pick could be 17. If the Islanders lose, the highest it could be is 17th. I think the lowest it could be is like 20, 21 if all the other teams lose in the first round and they lose too. That's not bad.
Really
I
not-
don't know why you want them to win. If they win, then it's going to be a higher draft pick.
That's not really like a huge difference. If they win, we get to the other factors go into play. What do you call it? Stipulations go into play, and we get to pick, which year we take those draft picks from them.
I see. I
So
forgot all
that
this. That's why
stipulation-
I can't stand these stipulations. I can't stand all these contingencies and like. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like, oh, we can jump up to like 7, or 8 in the draft, then yeah, But I mean, like, where the Islanders pick is gonna be in the bottom end. They're in the playoffs. They're a good team. They're a high seed. Like their pick is gonna be in the bottom end of it. So like,
No.
I don't know. I'd rather have the other thing. So I'm gonna root for the Islanders, I guess, even though I don't think they're gonna make it. I got Pittsburgh beating them.
No.
I got Pittsburgh beating them.
Especially Pittsburgh got Malkin back. I mean, Pittsburgh. Listen, but that's been a tight series. So you know what?
It has.
Here's an unpredictable
It
series.
has.
That's a series. I would not be surprised if it goes to 7 games, and I would not be surprised if it's a multiple overtime game 7 to decide that one. It was 2 overtimes, in fact. 2 overtimes. Was it yesterday that they played?
Yesterday.
They went into
Nashville
overtime.
today. Nashville today. They won
I'm
in
talking
double
about the
overtime
Penguins.
against Carolina.
Penguins and Islanders.
Oh, the Penguins.
Penguins and Islanders. They went yesterday. No. What? I'm looking at this wrong. Oh, I was looking at something else. My bad. No, they lost 4-1. The Islanders won 4-1. I'm sorry. Jeez Louise, I'm all over the place. So
They only
Jeez
they were only in
Louise,
OT
that's much better.
the first game. They were only in OT
You're right,
the first
you're right.
game. So
You're right.
yeah, the
I was looking at something
Islanders
and
played
the
well at
yellow
home.
jersey threw me off.
Yeah, they split their two homes, both teams. Win one, lose one at
Yep.
both. So it's kind of an
Yep.
even up here. You're going to give the Pens the advantage then because they got two home games left. But this game will be crucial if the Pens beat it's crucial no matter what. If the Islanders
So look
win
at-
and then
but-
they come home and they got Game 6 at home, whoo! I don't know, but
Let's look at that. Let's look at that series right now. And maybe we'll, as we're getting closer to the end of the program, we'll kind of go through a few of these series and take a look at the numbers.
yeah.
You're looking at
Let's
the
look at
Islanders Penguins. Game one was an overtime game won by the Islanders 4-3. If I'm correct in this, Palmieri, ex-Devil Kyle Palmieri, the
2 goals.
weirdest looking dude
So
without
all,
a beard.
so all the trolls,
2 goals,
so all
but
the
he
trolls can come out and say,
scored.
"See, Palmieri,
Yeah.
we need to
So
re-sign Palmieri."
He scored the OT winner. And then the game 2, which is a really nice, a solid, pretty close game. Penguins win 2-1. Penguins won 5-4. The following game, in game 3, which was that was a really close game too. Islanders kind of ran away with game 4 and won 4-1. So they play again tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And honestly, I don't even, a lot of people say that game 5 is the most crucial game, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
3-2 in that series. I don't think it's going to matter. I think that one's going to go 7. I
You
know we
think
didn't
it's
get a
up,
chance
but-
to do predictions. We didn't get a chance to do predictions in the series.
I don't think if you know what I mean. I have the Pens winning this series in my bracket, but if the Islanders win tomorrow, I say the Islanders close it out in 6. I really do. If the Penguins win, I think they're going to trade. I think this rest of the series they might trade off. If the Penguins win tomorrow, I think the Islanders are going to come out huge at home, Game 6 in front of that crowd. I just don't see them like going away. And then I say the Pens take it in Game 7. But if the Islanders win tomorrow, if they beat the Pens in Pittsburgh tomorrow, look out. It's done.
So your prediction for the rest of that series is Islanders in 7? Is that what you're going to stick with, or are you saying
Islanders in 6 or
if you had to
Penguins
make
in
a
7?
if you had to make a solid choice right now without having to choose one or the other, you have to say like, okay, what's your definitive answer instead of saying 1 if this happens or 2 if this happens.
I got the Pens in my bracket, so I'm gonna have to stick with them. The Islanders have definitely swung the momentum a lot better than I thought they were going to. Missing Anders Lee and everything like that. I really didn't think the Islanders were going to put up much of a fight. The Pens were getting healthy. They seemed to really go on a tear in the second half of the season. The Pens struggled in the first half. They seemed like all out of sorts. Yeah. And then second half of the season, they just kind of turned it on.
Well, they had
Tristan Jarry too is woo. Yeah, they did. And Malkin's back now.
Jarry's very streaky. Jarry's really streaky. He'll have a hot game, then he'll have a game where he's like throwing in 4 goals that are not really that strong. So,
that's very true.
So all right, so
he's
let's
young.
go to he is young. Yeah, let's go to another series because right now it looks like the Oilers are going to catch up or the Oilers are going to catch a game and they're going to make that series 2-1. They are deep in the third and they're up 4-1.
I got Edmonton.
So that's safe to say.
I got Edmonton.
You got Edmonton coming back in that one. Everybody's.
I got Edmonton going.
Listen.
I got Edmonton going all the way and then getting eliminated by the Avs in the conference finals. I think. Oh wow, okay. The Jets actually just scored again, 4-2. I don't know. I just think it's too much firepower with McDavid and Draisaitl, and it's just they got a lot, dude. They got a lot.
Fair enough. And Draisaitl had 2 goals this game.
Two today, yeah.
2 goals. So, oh my god. Peralt's. If you go to the NHL app and you look up Peralt's picture, that is a interesting looking photograph of that gentleman right there, Matthew Peralt. Anyways, he looks like the lead singer of like a death metal band.
Okay,
but anyways, I think people sleep on how good Winnipeg actually is. They have a pretty solid team, throughout. I wouldn't be shocked.
Oof.
Hellebuck, if he's on, he's on. If he's on, they're not going to lose. So that
Those
team,
first two
I believe
games,
that unbelievable.
Those first two
Unbelievable.
games, I mean, Shea shut him out in game 2. Right? Then in game 2 there was a shutout. It was 2. Oh, it was just 1-0. It was 4-1 in the first game too.
1-0.
Wow! If you could contain the Oilers, that team, to 1 goal over the course of 2 games, wow.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like the Jets are a team that everybody sleeps on. I feel like the Jets could not easily take that series, but that's a series that I think goes 6, at least 6. But I got the Jets in that one, my friend. I actually think the Jets.
You got the Jets, all right? I got the Oilers.
I think they're going to sneak past the Oilers. I think the Oilers are still, even though they've been around for a little while, Connor McDavid's been around for a little while. That's a team that still doesn't have a ton of playoff experience, and the Jets, I feel like, are a little bit more experienced, a little bit more ready for the moment. All right, so Maple Leafs Canadiens.
Nice little fun fact there too. The Edmonton Jets back-to-back. They have another game tomorrow as well, so they're playing Monday.
True.
Yeah,
that's true.
So,
which is crazy.
Okay, which one we going to?
Crazy. All right, Maple Leafs Canadiens. Canadiens won 2-1 in the first game, and Maple Leafs just blew their doors off in game 2. Carey Price looked a little lost. They won 5-1.
I think the Leafs. I think game 1 is just Tavares shock. Everything that happened. Oh my! You could not have tried to place that any better. If you were trying to say hey, let me actually get him to trip and roll and turn
and then
directly into Corey Perry's knee. I mean, if you were doing a movie stunt. Gruesome. Oh, dude. Yeah. If you were doing a movie stunt, you couldn't have planned it any perfect to do it was just the absolute wrong place at the wrong time kind of deal, and really hope the best for Tavares. Not what you want to see, but I mean, just a nasty knee to the head, man. Just so unlucky.
Yeah, and he's out at least 2 weeks, and part of that's a knee injury that he sustained. And some people were kind of speculating that he didn't get the knee injury when he ran into, I forget whoever the hell he ran into. I don't think it was Shea Weber. I forget who he ran into to cause him to fall down. Some people think that's when the knee injury happened. Others think that if you watch that video, and it is, listen, I know we talked about this earlier in the program where I said maybe we'll kind of touch on this a little bit. What happened up in the Toronto Sun and their front page of the paper, and how just disgusting that is. Just kind of almost lauding or celebrating, not even celebrating, but just splashing the front page of the paper with this injury. A lot of people think that when he got hit, and if you watch the video, the trainers are trying to get him up, and as they're trying to get him up, he kind of falls backwards, but he's on his knees, and when he falls backwards, his knee kind of twists around. So some people think that maybe the knee injury happened there, but like you said, you just wish the best. It's such a shame to see a talented player or any player go through something like that, because that's scary
freak
stuff.
Injury. Yeah,
a freak injury, exactly. And the fact that they're I know that the Maple Leafs addressed it, and they addressed it. They're saying it's disgusting. They think it's horrible what the newspaper did, but come on, you got to be better than that. I know sometimes you're reaching for headlines and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a joke. Dude, do you know what dude's family is going to be seeing this kind of stuff? Give me a break. It's when ESPN shows a gruesome leg injury. It's let's watch it once. Let's watch it 35 times in super high definition, slow-mo, and watch the leg snap in half. It's you don't need to see it. You show it once, and if you weren't there to see it, go watch it on YouTube. It'll be there. But, Jesus. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, it was scary. Glad to see that, oh, look at that. The Jets scored again, huh? 4-3.
Oh.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
Wow, 4-4.
Oh, it's 4-4.
They tied it up. Oh, wow.
Oh, sleeping on the Jets.
Wow. Are we going to have another OT? Wow.
Oh.
Woo. All right. Well, we got to see
on the Jets. Wheeler.
Man, this will be bad.
When did they score this?
This will be bad for me. I already got Washington knocked out here.
14-28, and then 14-44. Those goals were scored. I can't do math. Let's see. 14 minutes apart. Right? Is that right? 14 minutes apart?
Wow.
No, that doesn't seem right.
Right under the glove.
16 minutes.
Man.
16 minutes apart. Holy
Oh,
crap.
how did Smith miss that, man? Right under the glove. Woo. All right. Well,
That's it. There's it.
Oh, look at Mr. McDevil. I'm sorry. I always wanted to call Connor McDavid Connor McDevil. It would have been so perfect. It was just, lined up.
Thanks, Corey.
If it happened. Yeah. yeah. Thanks, Schneitz. Yeah, great trade. Just what we all wanted to hear. Oh, don't we have Martin Brodeur down on our team? What do we have?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No,
this isn't going to cause any problems.
No. That cost us. That didn't cost us.
No, yeah, that was what's his name? Bo Horvat.
Bo Horvat. Yes.
It was Bo?
That cost us Horvat, and then the year that McDavid was draft eligible, the Devils were in line to be in that draft lottery, or no, there wasn't a lottery yet. The Devils were in line to pick first, and then they won a couple of games towards the end, and we're all like,
"Yeah,
what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why?"
Something like that. Oh gosh. But how about Carolina and Carolina? All right, Carolina and Preds. We'll do Carolina Preds.
Carolina comes back. I believe that Carolina. Well, let's look at the scores of those real quick. Carolina wins game 1 5-2. Carolina wins 3-0. Predators win 5-4 in 2 overtime game, and then another 2 overtime game where the Predators won. So realistically, my heart says that the Hurricanes bounce back and they win the next 2.
Mm-hmm.
But then again,
I think so.
You can't count out the Predators. There's a lot of firepower in that team, but yeah, I think the Carolina Hurricanes still find a way to win that one.
Yeah, I mean, Carolina's got a lot of firepower too. I mean, just
I'm
a big fan of the old Sebastian Aho over there. Like, I think he's one of those players that just
underrated,
very underrated. But when he's on the ice, he's not underrated against the other teams. No, he may be underrated.
Oh no. I'm just saying like underrated. Like he fly. Yeah, he in the NHL scheme
because he's in Carolina. Yeah,
he's in Carolina. If he was on a big market team, everybody would be like, "Oh yeah, that Aho, he's a good dude." All right, Panthers, Lightning. I think I'm sorry to say, let's see, 5-4 first game, 3-1 second game. Panthers win game 3, 6-5, but that was an OT. This game, this series should have been already swept out because I think they should have won game 3. I think Tampa Bay comes back and wins game 5, and that series goes to bed.
Same thing with Vegas. Vegas, they're up 3-1 on Mini. Yep.
And in that game, game 1, Minnesota won 1-0 in overtime, and that was talk about one hell of a duel in between the pipes. That was one hell of a game. A shame to see anybody lose that one, but Fleury pitching a shutout last game, dude.
So good to see that. I mean, I'm just a guy who's been around the league for so long. He's been so, a great teammate. Like everyone always talks about what an excellent teammate he is, and just to be able to still play at this elite level, at his age is just, it's a great story. It's really a great story. And you're right. That first game was just one heck of a goaltender duel there. It was an incredible game.
Was it Brodeur Hasek like? Because that was one of the best goaltender duels. And Shorts guy, I know if he was here, he would attest to that because it's one of those games that you could always look at as being like, oh my God. Like you don't want to see anybody lose because it's just that good of a goaltending battle. But
I know.
I don't know, man.
That one and I think it was game 5 or game 6 against Dallas where we lost that like double OT at home. Remember that in the 99 series when we were going?
That's game 5.
We were going
I
think it was game 5.
Was that game 5? Yeah,
I think it was game 5. Then we went to Dallas. Yeah, in Dallas.
We won game 6 in Dallas. So if it was at home, then it had to have been game 5.
Oh, it was that double OT? I think it was Malakov. Remember old Vladimir Malakov? I think it was him. Puck went right through. Oh man, that was another one of those OTs. You're like, come on, just win this one, please.
It was 3 overtimes. It was 3
overtimes.
3 overtimes.
Do you know how I know this? I'll tell you how I know this. 2 things. I was super. It was bad luck to go to the bathroom till the Devils score first. And they didn't score any goals that entire game, and it went to 3 overtimes. So I almost had to piss in my pants that game.
You should have. Sacrifice one for the team, Sam.
Yeah.
And
Dude, oh God.
I think I got home that night like about 4 a.m. because I think the game ended at like 1:30 a.m. It was a 9 p.m. start.
That was the Sabres game, right?
No, that was.
Or are you talking about the Stars?
Dallas.
The
He's talking about the
Yeah, the
Stars game.
Stars.
Stars game.
Yeah,
that was
it was a
3
nine-
OT?
it was 3 OTs. 3 OTs. Yep.
I thought it was only
Malakoff
2.
screwed it up, and then Modano.
I know
Modano scored
Malakoff.
the
I
goal.
remember Malakoff screwing it up, yeah.
You should have been skiing that day.
Anyway. Here we go. Back into the negative. Well, the positive is one of the greatest all-time no-look passes was created the next game in double overtime. So game 6.
That's very
was
true.
double
That
overtime.
that was the double OT. Okay. I knew there was
my
a double
God,
OT
you know what I was
in there
watching?
somewhere.
So like I don't know if anybody else, or maybe I'm just a nerd and I do this kind of stuff once in a while. Is like I'll go onto YouTube and I'll just search up, classic NHL games and stuff like that. And the other day I forget why I ended up on it. It might have been just one of the ones that popped up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll watch that." It was the 6 overtime game between the Philadelphia Flyers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. It was right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when Brenda, God,
who was that?
Was it Brenda?
Keith Primo.
Keith
Yeah,
Primo. Keith Primo ended it. And they had interviews with some of the players, and they were like, we were so gassed, and everybody was just so dead. But they were like, at the same time, it was so cool because you knew that this has never been done before. And they just
Instant classic.
And they were saying like they wanted it to keep going. They were like they wanted it to actually keep going, and they wanted to see how long it was going to go for. You think about 6 overtimes. So that's 2 games. That's 3 games. That's 3 games in a row with no stop. That's 3
It's funny
games
watching you
straight.
do math there for a second.
Oh yeah,
You're like, wait a minute. I think that's 3 games. It is 3 games. Wow.
That's just
Wow.
that was my brain really working on full speed. Yeah, it was
I
at
got a-
Chilton Mill,
I got a
the
couple
brewery down the
stories.
street from my house. It's their 2-year anniversary, so we were there earlier today.
I got a
happy
couple
anniversary.
stories on that game. Number one time Steve Levy said that everybody had left. Everybody had left, and the intern, the one guy that they had that was supporting, I think it was him and Darren Pang calling that game. That intern had to go home because his mom was outside the arena. That was his only ride home. So they were left alone. And Keith Primo, he said that the entire game he had this one move against Darius Kasparaitis. And in that moment, he decided to switch it up and deke. And that's how he got burnt, because Kasparaitis cheated a little bit, and that's how he was able to make that move and then shoot
Crazy.
it on net. So
Crazy,
you go
isn't
the
it?
entire game, you wait, 6 overtimes before you decide, I'm going to do it this way.
Yeah, why
perfect
not?
moment.
Why not? Just switch it up.
Yeah.
Perfect moment, exactly.
Perfect moment. Yeah.
Oh my god! But what a crazy! And then it's the best part about it is as they're showing it, they're showing shots of the crowd, and there's people just straight up sleeping. There's people with their kids. There's people with their kids, like the kids are like done, like laying on their laps, and they're like all sitting there, like, oh my god! Could you imagine if you were there and they cut concessions at the like midway of the 3rd period, and you can sit there, and you're like, I'm starving. I haven't had something to eat in 6
Everyone's
days.
sobered up. Everyone's sobered up.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, there's been a few games. That's another topic for another day. But yeah, I agree with Scotty what he just said in the group text there. But listen, I can't wait for the Devils to be consistent playoff contenders, and maybe next week we can also talk about how our captain has been lighting it up over there in the Worlds right now, and how it would be nice to get Timo Meyer over here on the Devils somehow, some way. Even though that might not happen, but hey, either way, it's a good show.
There you go.
Absolutely. Who's going to end
It's
it?
fun to see Nico out there playing too. If you can check
Yeah,
him out,
yeah,
I know
yeah.
they've been on the NHL Network and stuff like that. So
Matt Tennyson is representing our country very well.
Yes, he is. And guess who's the captain of Canada? Who's the captain of the Canadian team? Let's see if either of you guys know.
is that old Ty?
No.
I don't know who is.
Familiar face. It's Adam Henry.
Kevin- Oh,
Oh, there you go.
There you
Very
go.
nice.
Well, I'll give my final thought as I could hear the music playing in the background. First of all, it was, as always, it's a pleasure to talk to you guys about playoff hockey. Even though we hope next year we can be knee deep in Devils playoff hockey at a live event. Friends, I think we're finally turning a corner. I have a good feeling that next year around this time we're going to be in a packed house at the Taj, having a fun time, screaming and yelling, getting ready to go across the street and into the Rock and celebrate some playoff hockey. How far they will get in the playoffs, I don't know. I'm not going to predict that far in the future, but I will say I have a feeling that this team is going to be a force to be reckoned with next year. And that's my final thought.
Very
Scotty?
cool. Just want to say thank you to everyone who's playing our NHL bracket. We're gonna have a good time again. I know we got it out there pretty late. Apologies about that, but for everyone who did sign up and submit their bracket, I know mine is in there as well. We're gonna have to start doing some weekly updates and see how everyone is doing. And there will be a big winner announced at the end of the Stanley Cup Finals.
very nice, Scotty. I also want to say that I'm enjoying the NHL playoffs. And as I see all these teams play, it's still a physical game. New NHL or not, it is still brutal. These guys are world-class athletes. And that's all I have to say about that. But, alrighty. Drop this podcast in about 20 minutes. Till next time, see you next week. Let's go Devils.